Righty.
Okay, both recordings have been set up for you guys.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, I suppose.
All
And like
right.
bros.
There's Keith. All right.
I say it froze on her rear end. Yeah, that's what oh, that's what I see. Okay, it changed. Okay, so
Are we ready?
yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our final project podcast for our Interpersonal Communications class. I'm Simon, and I'm here with Keith and Connor. In today's conversation, we're going to dive into three major topics that we covered in class: the self concept, perception, and language, chapters 3, 4, and 5 in our textbook by Kory Floyd. Over the course of this class, each of us completed reflection journals and assignments related to these topics. And today we'll be revisiting those experiences to reflect on how we've grown and what we've learned. So let's get started with chapter 3, the self concept. Just a moment. The book says that the self concept is your stable idea of who you are. Personally, the idea of self concept is important to me because I'm a trans man. I saw myself as a man and socially and medically transitioned to reflect that. Now, reality reflects the way I see myself in my self concept. According to the Johari window, the things that are in the open plain about me are that I am a tall Caucasian man with long hair and facial piercings. The hidden window includes things that I am transgender and that I live with chronic illnesses. The blind pane holds things that I'm unaware of, like how I come off distracted or, in some cases, intense. Lastly, the unknown window covers things that are unknown to me and to those who perceive me. For example, the fact that I have the potential to be whatever I choose in this life and the power to choose how I do it. Our journal for chapter 3 was to think of how an acquaintance would describe who you are in one sentence and what that one sentence would be. My sentence was, I'm a radically kind, earnest, and spiritual man who is passionate about human and animal rights with a bone deep commitment to silliness. We were also asked what that sentence helps someone new to understand about ourselves very quickly. I said that my sentence expresses that I'm a safe person and that I take honor very seriously, but I don't take myself nearly as seriously. Now that we've been refreshed on the idea of the self concept, I'll ask our second speaker, Keith. Do you think that your self concept helps or hurts your ability to resolve conflict?
I think it does both. I try to lead with care and understanding, which helps me to stay calm when there's a problem. But a majority of the time, I try to avoid conflict because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm learning that it's okay to speak up when something isn't right.
Definitely. All right. And do you think your self concept has changed over the course of the class?
The start, I mostly saw myself through how other people judge me. Now I see myself as someone who has been through a lot and still chooses to be kind to others. I understand myself better now. I'm more confident in who I am than I was at the start of the class. Um, Perception is about how we see people and how they see us. Everyone sees the world through different ways based on their past. For me, I've had a lot of trouble or had a lot of people judge me by how I look. I have tattoos and piercings and they think I'm trouble, but that's not who I am. I care deeply
I
about
can
people.
relate with that.
I help others feel safe. In our superhero assignment, I created ink art He's a hero who can feel what other people are feeling, even if they don't say it out loud. That's how I see myself. I notice when someone is upset, and even if they try to hide it, I'm trying to be someone they can lean on. But that's not always easy. Sometimes I take no, sometimes I take no too much to get overwhelmed. People don't always understand that when I'm quiet, it's not because I'm cold, but because I'm dealing with a lot inside. That's that case confirms uh, that causes confusion in our relationships and friendships. One thing I learned from this chapter is that we all need to slow down and check our ideas about people and not judge people based on how they look on the outside. Sometimes we think we know what someone else feels or means, but we might be wrong. Good communication means asking questions and really listening. Chapter 4 taught me that to make sure my perception of other people is accurate, I need to check those perceptions through actual communication with them, not just by how they look. We all have our own filters, like our past mood or even hidden stereotypes that affect how we see others. The chapter explains the 3 steps of perception, my bad, selection, organization, and interpretation. It's about what we notice, how we sort it out, and what meaning we give it. That really helped me see how two people can see the same situation totally different. Another big takeaway was empathy. If I stop and think about what someone else might be feeling, it becomes less judgmental and more understanding. That helps me communicate in a way that builds trust instead of tension. And I also learned that our perceptions are not fixed. People grow and change and should and so should our understanding of them. All right, Connor. Has someone's misperception of you ever caused conflict?
Yeah, it's been since high school, but used to be a football player. I was a lot bulkier and stockier and all, and that kind of bigger build, and regrettably how some areas can be kind of cause issues when I try to meet new people. Some either intimidated of me or other such reasons. So, because I was a freshman through high school with a beard, so
I understand that one actually.
kind of put it all together. Doesn't make
I was 18 my sophomore year, so it took me a minute. How do you think your perception influences your communication style?
I think it affects it because I try to just look at everybody as equal, so talk to them the same. I don't really care about gender neutral. I most try to stick to gender neutral terms, make it easier for everybody. You know, I'm just I'm an open guy. I you have tattoos, you have piercings. I don't take that into account. It's just your style.
Yeah.
Everybody has their style. It shouldn't be right to judge them for what they wear, how they look, what they have on them.
Good way to go about things.
Wait, oh, that'll be our last speaker for chapter 5, language. In my opinion, this chapter is one of the most important parts of interpersonal communication. It language is how we kind of communicate, but the book gives us context of how language has been a part of society for our humanity. It evolved from the simple gestures to complex facial structures and words more to language. It's kind of hard to all put into a sentence without going on forever. I'll admit, I'm not the greatest when it comes to language. I'm more introverted. I stick to myself a good portion of the time, so I'm not as developed in these normal languages, like picking up when people are uncomfortable, which I'm always working on. But language is very important in just everything we do. Key part of every society, culture, so on and so forth. The reflection journal for chapter 5 is based on how our lack of a language skill failed us or someone else. The misunderstanding that caused or led to, and how we could learn what we could use words together. What I wanted on to explain was for my high school group project, my lack of communication and making sure everything was right, I heard them right, everything was right, kind of led to many issues, having repeat slides, having to spend time out of our days to fix it because I didn't make sure, and so on and so forth. I didn't have confidence in my language skills. What I've started to improve on is double checking, making sure I understand all that. And then my opinion, I statements and like how unfairly treated you feel or how hungry you are, so on and so forth for basic examples. The use statements I view as always the negative ones, shifting blame. Like your unit coworker assigned to work on one project at work, and then boss doesn't like it, and you just shove all the blame to one person since they're the senior, or you just didn't want to take the fall for it. The example I always like to think of improving openness in language skills and improving on language skills and not being afraid of them. Because my high school government teacher always had us engage in debates where we voiced our opinions, how we viewed many different topics, wrote it down. Doing this really helped us grasp concepts and help us be more open minded, which I think is a key part of language and everything else in interpersonal communications. Well, my first question is, how has your choice of words affected your relationships?
Um, in my close relationships, especially when emotions get high, if I take the moment to pause before I react, and use words that are not as aggressive or accusatory, my relationships tend to be a lot more smoother, and disagreements don't turn into arguments. Um, so I always try to, might not always be perfect, but I always try my very best to find that pause so that I can work on, targeting more, uh, separating the you and I statements, and, finding a way to go forward that's productive for all parties, not just a, throwing back and forth type of, conversation. But, but yeah, no, I'd find that the more patience you extend with your language, the more resolutions you find in your relationships.
All right, yeah, we definitely agree on you with that. For the second question, do you think people interpret your language the way you intend it?
Um, I I hope they do, but I don't always think they do. Like I have ADHD and autism, and sometimes the way I am perceived, I have no idea. But I have learned over, I'm 30 now, so I've learned that now I just have to let go and not worry so hard about how I'm perceived, and just be. But yeah, it's definitely difficult sometimes when I'm worried about if my language is coming across the way I would like it to, but I realize all you can do is try your best.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel bad now.
Yeah.
I've been stressing on this like since I knew we had it. So it is one
But
thing to do videos
yeah,
on
no,
myself, but I'm not really a people person. I keep to myself a lot. So
I'm glad. I think um but yeah, I don't do we
not
is
sure what after
You
that.
never found
is
out?
that everything? Do we is that was our conclusion?
I think that was
Um
it.
all